I met Marcos Garza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
One of the world's truly great racetracks, Suzuka has been the home of the Japanese Grand Prix since the 1980s. Its flowing layout regularly puts the circuit at or near the top of the list of most Formula One drivers' favorites. Designed by noted circuit architect John Hugenholtz, who also designed the original Zandvoort circuit, Suzuka opened in 1962 and served primarily as a test track for Honda and as the site of sports car racing, including the Suzuka 1000 kilometer and the 8 hours of Suzuka and MotoGP motorcycle events. Suzuka was nominated to stage the Japanese Grand Prix in 1987 and has often been the site of the Formula One season finale. As such, Suzuka has been the decisive event in some of the closest battles in the Drivers' World Championship and has witnessed a number of controversial incidents, including clashes between Ayrton Senna and Alain Prost. Suzuka also hosted non-championship NASCAR races in 1996 and 1997. In addition to its signature crossover layout, Suzuka features a number of notable challenges, including a testing series of S's, the multi-apex spoon curve, and dauntingly fast 130R corner. The racetrack also serves as the foundation for a major sports and entertainment facility, including an amusement park whose giant Ferris wheel is a prominent figure in photographs and television images around the circuit. After a 2-year 2007-08 absence when the Japanese Grand Prix was run at the Fuji circuit, Suzuka underwent significant safety upgrades before hosting the event's return in 2009. Tonight, it's the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series race number 4, and it's next on HBR TV. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Suzuka Circuit. I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV, joined up in the broadcast booth by Zach Millen. How you doing, Zach?
Hey, what's up, Steve?
Qualifying is what's up. Already underway, a couple of minutes into the session, a 10-minute session. Let's take a look at some race details for tonight. It is the morning here in Japan. 65-degree ambient temperature, 15% humidity, awfully low considering we are in the Pacific Rim. Let's go down trackside, see how things are shaping up in the session. Terry Crouch, to no one's surprise, fastest so far. Was fastest in the practice, did seem to have a little struggle in the practice session trying to get a handle on things. Certainly got that worked out. We'll take a look at that session. Terry Crouch, of course, fastest, a minute 58.480, a full half second faster than Gaston Masroni. Remember, Terry's got to go to the back here at the start, his win penalty for last week at Interlagos, so it's going to be fun to see the 59 work his way through the field. Also, some things to note. Setup changes for all the drivers. Again, this is a fixed setup series. Drivers were running the high downforce endurance setup. Some complaints from some of the drivers across the board did get the admins to kind of consider making some changes. They have, and they've gone with the baseline setup instead of the high downforce endurance, taking away some downforce, but also taking some fuel out of the cars. They went from, I think it was a 70% load down to 40. So that should actually cause us to have 2 pit stops in the race in the hour tonight. So we'll see how that plays out. Zach, I don't know if you had some laps on this track. I don't know if it was in a GT3 car or otherwise. You seem to like it from when we talked about it. You got any laps around here?
Yeah, we've been turning laps around this place since, before Gran Turismo even. This is one of my favorite tracks. It's a difficult track, but it's a real... It's a pretty tough track to get around. It's like we were talking about earlier. What did we say? It's a real got to be in the groove to get around this place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a lot of rhythm.
Rhythm. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, it's a great track though. It's hard to stay purple around this place like Terry's doing, but it's a challenge.
Well, speaking of purple, Kevin Burrows now goes top of the board. He knocks Terry back to P2. Burrows in a BMW. Want to make note of that as well. With this setup change, we talked about last week was the last opportunity drivers had. Whatever car they picked, they had to stick with the rest of the season. Well, they kind of fudged that a little bit too with the setup change. They gave the guys one more opportunity to make a decision on the car they're going to run the rest of the season. So tonight, whatever you're in, that's what they got to be in the rest of the season. So you see a bunch of BMWs still out there, but some guys have made some changes. Terry stuck with the McLaren. I think Chris Goins did make a change. He jumped into the McLaren from the Lamborghini. Honestly, a little bit more of a familiar car to Chris. He ran that in the first GT3 Series, so hopefully that helps his luck just a bit here at Suzuka. Couple guys in the stream chat, of course, Chris Harvey on the pole. I swear he sits there and just waits for us to go live. We do appreciate that. Chris Goins, of course, says, I'm just here to make sure you guys see someone wreck. Well, Chris, hopefully it's not lap 1. Turn 1's going to be crazy. Of course, Millet there as well. Terremotos, I hope I'm saying that right. Go Coanda Racing. That's going to be Gaston Masroni and others. Haley in the stream chat. Hi, everyone. Hope you're all happy and nice. Have a nice night. Or happy a nice night? I don't know. Maybe it's a translation. She is in Sweden. Awesome that she's here all the time. Again, it is super late out in Sweden. I just think it's crazy that she's here every night. I can't say more and appreciate it more than we do, man. It's really cool.
Yeah, that is really cool.
6 minutes have elapsed in the 10-minute session. It does click off in a hurry here. I think we were running 15-minute sessions previously. We had a bigger field, so that was the reasoning behind it. With that, though, we still have a pretty good bunch of guys here tonight. I think we've got almost 30 cars. Close to it. Chris Elliott in the chat as well. Hello, HBR. It's Holler Boys Racing TV. Don't get us confused. HBR is the race team. HBR TV is the broadcast platform. We are affiliated, but not the same. Top time now, Gaston Masroni, 1:59.016. Crouch back up to P2. Burrows third. Back with the 59 of Crouch, and he's going to try and take the pole here, I think, just for the points, because, again, he does need to go to the back.
New paint scheme this week for Terry.
Yeah, actually, we saw this in the Lonestar Racing Cup Series last Thursday. Living Print, the branding on that McLaren. It's actually an app that Terry has put together. I guess it's its own company. Allows you to print pictures, I believe, as far as your vacations and such. And he can explain it more. He did last week. I've already forgotten, so that's my mistake. But either way, Living Print, it's an app. Check it out. See if you can find it in the App Store or the Google Play or Google Store or Android, whatever they're called. I have an Apple phone, so it's the Apple Store for me. You guys know where to get your apps. That's all I can say. Figure it out.
We keep it simple.
2 minutes left. Again, they will allow, I think, a couple of minutes after time expires to wrap up their laps. So a 10-minute session is usually more like 12.
Ooh, close call. Oh. A little bit of chaos there behind Terry. Terry down into turn 1. We saw him struggle there in the practice session. Probably just enough time for these guys to get one more lap in.
Chris Elliott says, doing great. Just here to watch Goins do Goins things and get yelled at by Steve. I didn't yell at anybody.
That's great.
Chat ban Chris Elliott.
Yep, band split. 8 minutes in, one band.
Gaston Masroni still top of the board. Terry is on a flyer here. Going to see if he can knock the 3 off the top spot. White got the right sides in the grass just a bit there. Doesn't get the off track.
Just a couple more turns. We'll see if he can put it together.
Clock at zeros in the session. Again, drivers will be able to complete their laps. Across the line, Crouch goes minute 59.14. Actually loses a spot because Kevin Burrows goes a tick faster. Kevin Blue says, I just realized I left it at 10-minute qualifying. I thought it was 15 minutes before. I thought 10 was the norm. But either way, no issues. Coanda Racing's Nick Ciccato, the number 2 BMW. 2 minutes, .142. Randall White just going down the pit lane, and it looks like that's going to wrap things up. So qualifying session still finishing up. All drivers have taken the times that they're going to. There's a handful that opted not to. Looks like Corey Deal actually in the session. Corey coming over from the LSR Cup Series. Not sure if he's just here to watch or what his plan is, but should be interesting. Corey runs an HBR TV sponsorship over on the Cup side. So while we got an extra minute here, Zach, do we have any picks for tonight?
Oh, man, that's a tough one. Well, Terry's got to start in the back, right?
Yeah, Terry's got to go to the rear, which doesn't always mean anything. Gaston had to go to the rear last week in Brazil, and he was able to work his way back. Contend for a little while up in the top 4.
Man, if you're giving me first pick here, it's pretty hard not to go with Gaston. He was so consistent last week. I mean, as soon as that green flag waves, he's gone.
All right. You're going to go out on a limb and take Mascheroni, but I'm going to go Kevin Burrows.
Beautiful.
Got to go with the team guy. Again, Kevin ran the Daytona 24 with us, so let's pick Kevin. Another TLDR sim sport. Actually out qualifying Terry Crouch here.
God, you don't hear those words very often.
No. All right, well, let's take a look at our starting grid for race number 4 at Suzuka. On the pole position with a lap time, minute 59.016 with Coanda Racing. It's Gaston Mascheroni. To his outside with TLDR Simsport, it's Kevin Burrows. Starting 3rd, Terry Crouch. 4th goes to Andrew Locke. 5th starting position, Dave Seats. James Vance will start to his outside in the 6th position. 7th goes to Randall White. 8th, Brad Crouch. Nick Ciccato is going to start from the 9th spot. 10th goes to Josh Lucas. 11th, Aldo Secklin. Expect him to be fast later on. Daniel Clark starts 12th. Sean Roberts, 13th. David Tamura will start 14th. Brandon Domain, 15th. Kevin Blue with Lonestar Racing starts 16th. Chris Pio, 17th. Alexis Mandrakia will start in the 18th spot. Alfredo Tricarici will start 19th. Chris Gones in the McLaren will start 20th. Nick Batista, 21st. Bill Mulfeld, 22nd. Dave Coburn, 23rd. Andy Spicer, 24th. Justin T. Wilkinson, 25th. Nick Simone, 26th. Corey Deal, 27th. Travis Martin, 28th. And last but not least, the 421 of Britt Osborne. It's your starting grid here from Suzuka Circuit. Race number 4, the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. Gonna roll here in just a moment here. Be under the green flag momentarily. So, I don't know why, but every time I see Justin T. Wilkinson, all I can think of is Buford T. Justice.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Buford T. Justice.
We kid because we care.
Yeah, that's true.
Got Germain Bardone. I hope I'm saying it right. Saying, go Mascheroni. I'm not going to try the foreign language to me because I just sound embarrassing when I try. I really do appreciate you guys being here, though, cheering on these guys. It's awesome. We got Drew Blaze also in here. Drew Blaze is in the chat, but not the race. What's going on?
You should be out there on the track, Drew, watching Mr. Mr. Blue Wreck.
It's funny because, I mean, Drew's a dirt guy as far as, by trade, I guess you could say, but mostly asphalt racing these days, but he's actually pretty decent on the road courses as well. He's a threat in anything he sits in.
Yeah, you put that guy in a Ferrari, he rips.
Just like that, we're under the green flag here at Suzuka Circuit. Gaston Masroni under power. Down into turn one, we'll see how it works. Everybody clean through the S's. Down into turns 8 and 9. Nick Caccato with an off track. Quickly back on. Not happy with the BMW in front of him. Looks like that's Josh Lucas.
Sends it on in there.
Oh, he's going to get 2 for 1 here.
What a deal.
Oh, and Brett Crouch into the wall. Brack's got a long wait to let these guys go by. Keep an eye on that relative. One more coming. Now he's got the chance.
Wonder how much damage. It looks pretty rough.
Not a fun way to start this off. Brett Crouch in trouble. We'll take a quick look at it. We did see it live. Again, had Josh Lucas to the outside, a little bit of contact. I don't think Brack realized he was there, and then Lucas turns down into the right rear, sends Brack into that barrier, Tech Pro barrier, I think they call it now. We can't even call it a safer barrier. We're on road courses here. So Brack's going to rejoin here, but at the back of the field, it'll be fun to watch him work his way through as well. Terry Crouch all the way up into the 24th position from 29th. I say 24, I meant 23. Meanwhile, out front, Gaston Masroni continues to lead. He stretched the advantage to 1.2 now over Dave Seeds. Kevin Burrows has slipped back to P3. Andrew Locke in the 4th position.
Definitely a couple guys to keep an eye on. Steve is James Vance and Andrew Locke. They're super consistent, and they can definitely lay down some lap times.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, lately you'd expect a little more pace out of Andrew and James if they're running an LMP2. That seems to be their wheelhouse, but certainly not to be underestimated in GT cars. They're going to be quick. That's where, at least I know for sure, where Andrew started here on the sim. He's going to have some pace. Decent qualifying run here at Suzuka, currently running in the 4th spot where he started, but through strategy and just consistency, keep this thing out of the grass and out of the gravel. We have a solid finish, and we got a spinner. Is that Kevin Burrows? It was.
Broadcaster's curse, Steve.
It's back under power. Let's take a look at it. Little oversteer. It's a common place to have that happen. And he gets into the tire barrier as well. Pretty significant impact.
It's a bigger hit than I thought it'd be.
Somewhat of a blind spot for our cameras here. So Burrows slips back to P10, does not come to pit lane, so possibly not terminal damage on that BMW. He's actually taking a look here to trying to get a pass. Nothing doing down into turn number 1. Again, a 1-hour race. We're already 4 minutes in, 3 laps. Gaston still stretching things out over the second place. Dave Seats, 2.2 seconds in the rearview mirror. Andrew Locke, meanwhile, he's taken over the third position. It's a very German top five, BMW, Mercedes. Only one Mercedes, that's Dave Seats running in the second position. Take a look at this battle for position as well. Randall White, James Vance. Again, all BMWs here. Still with the option to change cars coming into Suzuka. A lot of drivers still sticking with that pretty consistent, pretty balanced BMW. A lot of guys swear by it. I know we kind of took a peek at it for the 24. I just couldn't get a handle on the car. Felt like it was very understeery. It definitely has some pace, and it seems to be the car of choice for many of these drivers.
Boy, heck of a pass right there. That was beautiful.
Oh, big wiggle for Vance, though. Got a repass coming. White's to the driver's left of Vance down the main straight. Little connection issue for Vance. It's something we've seen relatively common with him. Blinks out again.
I think that was a good move by Randall there, just in case, you know, Vance's connection didn't come back there in time before turn one.
And it's blinking out quite a bit. We were trying to ride on board, we kept losing the connection. So we'll ride with the trailing car of Randall White in the fifth spot behind James Vance. Saw this a lot in practice with James too. He's been hitting these curves pretty hard, getting really to the left or right side of the inboard portion of the curve, putting the wheels in the grass in a lot of the corners. He's still been quick. Loses connection again. That's got to make Randall White awfully nervous.
It's hard to hit those curbs every lap and be consistent. If you do it just right, you can be really fast, but boy, I mean, just a couple inches too far and it's just no good. It could send you off into the tulips.
Oh man, big time connection issues for James Vance here. This is definitely nerve-wracking for the trailing driver. You just don't know, A, how long he's going to be gone. You can see it from the in-car perspective here. Vance keeps blinking out. It's also why it's super important to set up your brake markers based on the track and not the guy in front of you. Randall's going to have more problems to worry about. He's got Aldo Secklin out the rearview mirror in that number 666 Ferrari. Aldo, the champion of the European leg of the Season 1 Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. Love to check on Gaston Masroni, but he's just on a Sunday drive here, 3.5 seconds over Dave Seats in second. Best lap of the day, well, belongs to him, minute 59.28.
Big time moment there for Aldo.
Big save for Aldo.
Nicely done. That's all it takes, Steve, just a little bit of grass in the right rear.
Nick Ciccato takes advantage of that minor mistake. It's going to send Aldo back to P7. He's going to have to work on the 2 here, see if he can get that spot back. Seems this baseline set does have a lot less downforce. Of course, the high downforce, it's kind of maxed right out for cornering and braking and that sort of thing, but it does put a little more downforce on the rear. The cars tend to understeer on that setup. This one, baseline set, it's just kind of a generic road racing setup, so you do have a lot less rear downforce, so that you're going to have more oversteer, but that makes the steering more responsive. It's going to be an adjustment for some of these guys. Even Aldo, I mean, Aldo's quick. He's shown a lot of pace. I think he won the 3-hour spa race that Lonestar Racing did last season. He's got pace. He can drive. A little loose again there in the kink. Sean Roberts in the Porsche. Josh Lucas, that green BMW, we saw make contact with Brack Crouch early on, running in the 13th spot. Brack has worked his way up into the 22nd position after that incident.
Apparently the damage on that car not affecting it too badly.
Now, Brack's always got some pace, and as long as the wheels are straight on that machine, I think he'll be okay. It might be a little down on straightaway speed, but here there's not a ton of that. On board with Dave Seats, looking back at Andrew Locke. This would be the battle for the 3rd position. Locke about 7/10 in the rearview mirror. Gaston stretching it out even further, 4.6 seconds to Seats. Connection issue for Dave Seats as well. Kevin Blue running in the 13th spot. He started 16th, so starting to knock some positions off, moving his way forward. But he's got Justin T. Wilkinson to the back door. He's up 11 positions. So we ride on board with Justin. Justin's doing a good job using all the available racetrack. So I got right to the edge of the grass there. It's a dangerous place to be because if you push it just too far, it's very easy to send that car around.
Makes you realize how hard it is just with one car going through there, let alone being side by side with someone.
Exactly. So Justin's working with a Simrap Market paint scheme. Justin still working on the back of the 54 at Kevin Blue. That would be for position, the 13th spot specifically. Again, Justin's up 11 positions since the drop of the green flag.
That's strange, Steve. It said Chris Goins entered pit lane and just left pit lane. I wonder if he had an issue, or I think it's a little too early for a strategy call.
Well, again, remember we're on 40% fuel load, so that may have shortened that pit window, but it still seems kind of early. I know he did have an issue on track as we watch this battle. We'll go back and take a look at it here in just a moment. In fact, looks like he's had 2 incidents. Lap 5, we'll take a look at the first. Not catching a whole lot here. Let's back it up a little further. Yeah, he got into the gravel trap. Looks like contact here. Oh, got the grass.
Yep. Ooh, clipped him too.
Collateral damage with the 57. There's Alfredo Tricarici. And then a lap later, looks like another issue? Possibly. Or is this the same issue? Yeah, he's got some pretty good damage. That was just him trying to get back to pit lane.
Oh, that thing is crab walking pretty steady.
So Chris Goins having to use a faster pair here early. It's going to put him on a different strategy. Don't think it's going to help him in any way. Dave Tamiro real loose out of turn 13. Another caller while Sean Roberts. Sean pulling away here. Let's see if he hits pit lane or not.
It's certainly been the spot of the track to keep an eye on, that's for sure.
Well, I think I was talking to Chris Goins pre-race. I think he mentioned that kink is going to give a lot of guys some fits as far as keeping the handle. It seems to oversteer quite a bit. Terry Crouch looks like he's crashed. What happened here with Terry? Or did he? Oh, he does. Nothing crazy, just gets it sideways. Gets it quickly out of the way. Smart move.
Yeah, it's kind of a blind corner there. Smart move on his part by getting out of the racing groove.
Sean Roberts rejoins the race back in the 23rd position. Now back out front, Gaston Mesroni with the lead, 5.6 seconds back to second place Dave Seats. Andrew Locke still unable to do anything with Seats. In fact, he is back now a full second behind the Mercedes. So current top 5, it's Gaston Masroni, Dave Seats, Andrew Locke, James Vance, and Randall White. Aldo Secklin has worked his way back up into the 6th position. Kevin Burrows, P7. Nick Caccato is 8th. Alexis Mandrakia, 9th. David Tamira is 10th. Other notables, Brett Crouch after his crash up to 19th spot. It's just a matter of time here. I would expect to see some drivers consider some pit stops here pretty soon once they get past that 20-minute mark. If it is indeed a 2-stop race, that would break it up equally enough to make that happen. Masroni closing in on Chris Goins. Goins about to go a lap down. Goins yields to Gaston, gives him the position as the leader. "20 minutes down, 40 minutes to go." We're going to jump out and get a break out of the way. We're going to go HBR TV side by side so you guys don't miss a minute of the action. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
First round of pit stops underway here at Suzuka. Interestingly, watching James Vance and Andrew Locke. In the break, we were talking about tire strategy. Andrew took tires here, which is very surprising. Again, very early on here in the race event. Only 23 minutes in, unless we've got a significant amount of tire wear. I don't really know the strategy there or if that was inadvertent. Teammate James Vance did not take tires. He was out of the pit lane much faster, so he's going to leapfrog teammate Andrew Locke. Gaston Masroni stays on the racetrack, as does Randall White, Nick Ciccato, Chris Pyle. It's your new top four. James Vance, the first driver on the racetrack with one stop completed.
I'm almost wondering, Steve, if the Fast MD guys have a strategy here. They're about the same pace. They were right next to each other when they did pit. Maybe they're thinking, you know, one guy takes tires, one doesn't. We'll see how it works later on, you know. Maybe the tires are going to come in. Maybe they'll be worth a lot.
I'll have to see how it pans out here. I just don't know if you do it this early on. I mean, there's really no advantage. You look at the weather, 66 degrees. It's pretty cool here. Track temp's 78, so that's pretty low. You're not really burning up tires too bad.
You would think right about now into this run, they'd be kind of in their prime.
Leaders on pit road, Gaston Masroni, Randall White, Nick Ciccato alike. Tires for Gaston, very interesting. He's been in the pits now for 21 1.8 seconds was his stop. Brett Crouch actually leapfrogs him, it looked like. Terry Crouch in the pit lane in the McLaren and had to start out at the back. We'll see what Terry does here. Someone who pays very close attention to tire strategy. We'll see what the TLDR driver does.
Yeah, if I could map a button to the stream deck, Steve, to just copy whatever Terry Crouch does strategy-wise, I would have there. I would have it on there all day.
Call it the Crouch button. Doesn't look like
Crouch
tires
button.
going on the McLaren. It's going to be fuel only for the 59. Down and away. Meanwhile, James Vance has taken over the top spot. And he's completed his first pit stop. So this is going to be the question to watch throughout the rest of the race. Is that final stop that he makes, does he take tires or does he run this whole hour on the one set? And we've talked about this time and time again in the full endurance races. A full stint is about 52 minutes. So is another 8 minutes going to make that much of a difference on these tires, especially with these low track temperatures? I don't think it's going to. I think you can run this whole race without changing the tires.
He'll definitely save some time on pit road if that's the case.
Especially Gaston, he's going to restart here in the 4th spot. He did take tires. Yes, it's going to allow him to be a little more aggressive. But he's also got a lap or two to run, especially with the cooler temperatures, to get heat back in those Pirellis. I don't know if that was a good plan.
I don't know. We'll have to see what the pace looks like here, see if he's going to catch Vance pretty steady.
I don't really want to question the guy because he probably wiped the floor with me when it comes to road racing, but I don't know.
You and me both.
We'll see. It's a shame you're not out here, Zach.
I don't know. It's way more relaxing, kick back watching the race, you know, no stress, don't have to worry about any kind of strategy. It's great.
Meanwhile, James Vance out in front, Dave Seats back in the 2nd position, but less than a second behind Vance.
Ford GT slowed back. Couldn't tell if he was off the pace or maybe had a problem.
Britt Osborne. Let's see what happened here with the Ford. This is the S section of the racetrack. It just comes to a stop. Some sort of issue on track. Not sure what the problem is for Britt Osborne, but relatively quick to repair the issue. I don't know.
I mean, it's a Ford, Steve. It could have been anything.
At least it's a V8.
At least.
On board with Randall White in the 3rd position and behind Dave's seats. That's the top 3 right here. You're on board with 3rd place. Just ahead, the 2nd place machine, and just ahead of him is Vance in the BMW. Still having those connection issues with James Vance. It's not an uncommon thing to see with the 87, but tonight it seems to be a little more pronounced than the usual.
Yeah, and what do you do if you're Dave Seats and you actually catch Vance? You know, do you kind of push to get around him, or you just kind of lay back and kind of hope the connection, you know, stays stable enough to where you can see him?
Well, see, that's the problem too, is a lot of times you get too close to a guy and that connection issue becomes worse. You almost got to try and just send it in there and hope he doesn't reappear on top of you.
You know, I mean, if you're Vance, you don't want to give up that track position. You're running in the lead. You want this win.
It's a full 4 or 5 seconds he disappeared there. That's going to be tough if you catch the 87. These drivers are going to have to consider some pit stop strategy here to try and leapfrog James Vance rather than try it on track. It almost seems like Seats has backed it up just a bit. Randall White right there.
Look who's right behind him already.
To no one's surprise.
He is coming.
Gaston 2.5 seconds back from race leader James Vance. If anybody can catch and pass Vance, even with the connection issues, I would like to think Masroni could get it done. So Britt Osborne has had another issue on the track. Brett's having some mechanical issues, I think. He comes to a stop once again.
Yeah, I think he's got some sort of maybe a hardware issue or something, but looks like he's at least getting out of the way for the guys when he's trying to solve that issue.
Problem is, if it happens in the middle of a corner, hopefully he can continue on and get out of the racing groove. So far, so good. Well, looks like Andrew Locke has had a little off-track excursion as well. Let's see what happens here. Catches the grass. Looks like a Chris Goins type incident.
Boy, what a save.
Beautiful save.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. He didn't lose a bit of time there either.
Battle for third shaping up between Randall White and Gaston Masroni. White all over the back bumper of Seats as well. Mercedes, BMW, BMW. Remember, Gaston does have fresh tires compared to a lot of these drivers. In fact, the top three all took fuel only that first stop. Vance had a very quick stop, 16.9 seconds, which is really what's gotten him up this high. Nick Coccato runs in the 5th spot. His stop was 13.2. Oh, Gaston in trouble. Hard impact.
Oh, that's a huge impact, Steve. That might be done.
That's a race ender for the 3 of Gaston Masroni. Big time trouble out of the kink.
They have a faster pair, right, Steve? I mean, he's got to limp them back in there.
A race win is out of the question, it seems. I mean, really, the location of that crash certainly helps him significantly here. But he's still going to have to make another stop, I think, to make it all the way to the end. Right front damage for sure. Lucky enough, he doesn't have to tow it.
Broadcaster's curse, Steve. I don't know how we can solve this.
Oh, I don't think I caused that one.
No, that was my fault. I picked him on that one. Sorry, Gaston.
So fast repair burned. Does he take the fuel? Looks like he's going to take fuel. He's down and away. I think
he might as well. But strategy-wise, it's just a little too soon, I think.
It's going to be interesting because really that's a pass-through with the stop. It's almost a stop-and-go penalty with a little bit extra time sitting there in the pit box. Let's try and go back and get a look at it and see what happened with the 3 machine. That's a little bit late. It seemed to happen before that. Let's back it up further. Dave Seats might have been involved in it as well. Nope, still.
I think it's that grass again, Steve. I think he just clipped it with the rear.
Here we go. This will show it. Got Seats in the Mercedes. He caught a little bit of the grass too, I think. Nope, no issue there. Gaston just went wide. And then crossed. Yeah, there it is. Let's back this up here again. Let's slow it way down and go to the blimp.
He's going to catch it with the right sides, upset the car, and then he's almost going to save it, but clips the grass again and loses it.
Yeah, big time oversteer. Just caught one of the bumps in the curbing.
Look how close he is here to actually saving this thing.
Almost.
barely clips that grass and sends him for a ride. Look at the spot he hits, too. Oh,
Just the edge of the Tech Pro. Not good. Looks like Andrew Locke may have crashed again. Let's take a look at this, see if it's just a save or another issue. Oh, just loses the rear end. It's not going to hit anything, thankfully, but that makes it more and more difficult for the 23.
beautiful job parking it on that access road,
Yeah.
though. Mint.
So James Vance still out in front, 1.3 seconds over Randall White. Gaston now back to the 18th position, now 17th after someone in the pits. I think that's Alexis Mandrakia. 35 minutes in. I don't know if this is a second stop for Alexis. It is. That might have been a scheduled stop for Alexis, so now you got to wonder, is Gaston within that pit window? Does he need to stop another time? Was it too early or was it not?
I just can't get over how lucky he was to, have that accident right before pit lane.
One of the fastest parts of the racetrack coming down into the kink. Drivers well over 160 plus miles an hour. And James Vance in pit lane. Or not. That was just a connection issue.
Just teleported there for a little while.
Unfortunately, folks, when the driver disconnects from the session, even temporarily, I can't follow the car with the camera because it's all tied to whether or not they're here. So no need to alarm anybody. No pit stop for race leader James Vance as of yet, though he is continuing to lose connection here. Randall White runs 1.1 seconds behind the 87. That battle kind of all went away when Gaston Masroni had his issues through the kink. Masroni back in the 17th spot. Oh, another one off. Is that Britt Osborne possibly again having some more troubles? It is.
The new HD 4 GT just not having very good luck. And that could be more of whatever issue he was having. Maybe he was just trying to still solve that issue and get his thing fixed.
What's the thing? I'm wondering if he was having an issue with his pedals not working properly.
And it could be he's still sitting there, so yeah, it could be something.
Comes Sean Roberts. Might have been watching the relative here, waiting for a good opportunity to get out and go.
These cars are so spread out at this point of the race, though, Steve, it's going to be hard to find a little window to kind of get comfortable in.
Yeah, Britt's having some problems here. Not trying to pick on him, but he might want to retire the car. If he's having issues like that, unfortunately, only going to have so much luck before someone else runs him over. There's the other Ford GT. It's Chris Pyle coming through.
Oh,
Josh Lucas in trouble. Looks like Josh just goes right to the pits.
well, I didn't think he hit anything there, Steve. Interesting.
Bathroom break, who knows?
It could be, yeah.
Vance is still out front here, but the deficit is shrinking between himself and second place Randall White. He's catching him.
I mean, it's kind of new life in the race for these guys, watching Gaston fly up through there and then have, his issues. And, I mean, it gives him a pretty good chance to maybe steal this one. might shape up to be one heck of a battle, though, Steve. We know how great of a driver Vance is when it comes to being defensive. It's going to be great.
Well, yeah, Vance, of course, definitely got some experience in that department, trying to defend a position without wrecking a guy, but just taking away that preferred lane. If you got a guy that's behind you, he could actually be a tick faster. It's easy to catch, but it's not so easy to get on by. As he gets closer here, we'll have to pay close attention to see that. So we're about 40 minutes in here. Pit stops likely coming soon for the final time. "19 minutes to go here from Suzuka. We're going to take our final HBR TV side-by-side break. Get it out of the way. Stay with us. We'll be back after this.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Suzuka Circuit, race 4, the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series. 22 laps have been completed at 43 minutes and 50 seconds and counting. Final pit stops scheduled here pretty soon for the leaders. James Vance still out in front. Randall White, Aldo Secklin, the top 3 currently. Top 5 drivers yet to make their final pit stop. Oh, James Vance loose. Gets the right rear off balance. Saves the car, but now he's got to shut the door on Randall White.
Starting to think these fast MD guys have been practicing their BMW drifting, because they've both had some pretty epic saves this race.
Down into the chicane. See if they peel off and hit pit lane. Vance does. Now remember, Vance had a very fast first pit stop. No tires. We'll see if he opts to do the same. He's really going to need that track position Now the question is, does he decide to put the tires on with the handling starting to go away on that BMW? Vance is going full send. Fuel only for the 87.
I love it.
12.9 seconds. Another quick stop for the 87.
Now, I like the strategy by White, too, Steve. You know, he did actually catch Vance little by little. He might be just a tick faster, but by him staying out a lap or two, he might cycle ahead of Vance after his pit stop.
Depends on if he takes tires. If he's paying attention, obviously, I don't know if he's going to know for sure that Vance did or did not take tires. If he's aware of it, well, hopefully he's smart enough not to.
I don't remember if he took tires the first stop.
First stop was in 1862, so unless he put a ton of fuel in that car, I'm going to go with he took tires. But then again, let's look through here. What was it? Trying to think. Was it Gaston? He did take tires. No, I see he's taking his second stop, so that's hard to gauge. Andrew Locke, 1168, so that's his second stop. Hard to say. I think the pit stop with tires, though, is still north of 20 seconds. So maybe he's on the original set as well. Randall White, the TLDR SimSport driver, still stays out. This might not be a bad play, in all honesty. I mean, you're talking about making the pit stop shorter. Obviously, the longer this race runs on, the less fuel he's going to have to take. It also gives him an opportunity, if he's not going to take tires. He's out there right now on light fuel, which means a little bit better lap times.
Yeah, light fuel, clean air. I mean, it's perfect for him right now. I think the longer he stays out, the better.
Aldo Seckelin in the Ferrari down pit lane. Aldo out of Peru. Makes his home in, I believe, Miami, Florida now. That's a recent change. Welcome to the States, Aldo. Fuel only for the Ferrari. He's down and away. It's a quick stop for Aldo. 12.2 seconds. Randall White still on track yet to make his final stop of the day. Now, we didn't really even talk about the possibility of maybe they can make it on one stop. I don't think that's going to be the case for anybody. 40% fuel.
Yeah, I feel like that would be one heck of a stretch.
One more time by, does White hit pit lane? Here he comes. So if Randall's paying attention, which comes out of the TLDR SimSport garage here, I imagine he knows no tires is going to be the call. Oh, he's putting tires on.
Did not expect this.
No, very surprising. Still a pretty quick stop, or was it just a couple of tires? 13.5 seconds, maybe left sides only.
Close this gap's going to be. He's still coming out ahead of Vance.
Yep, and he's got a little bit more grip on the left side.
That's that difference, Steve. Staying out, light fuel, clean air.
1.6 back to Vance.
With at least one new tire on there.
Well, that's it. We've talked about Terry Crouch, trying to make the strategy play here. different races, and he's opted for odd number of tires in some instances, changed 3 instead of 4, just because of how long it took to do 4. He didn't want to give up the track position, but said, you know what, 3's better than nothing. 3's better than 2. Oh, he goes off track, though. Makes a big mistake. Just because you took 2 only means the right sides have the heat in them. Got to get the warm-up on the left side. He drives off the racetrack. James Vance is going to take over the lead.
That thing is hurt, Steve.
Yeah, he's in trouble. Left front damaged for sure. Let's take a look at it. Remember, he took left sides. Oh, he just got... I don't know exactly what happened, but he's not the only one to do the same thing. He went right through somebody else's tire tracks, gets right into that Tech Pro. Again, the cold tires on the left side of the car. Let's back it up again a little bit further here, and maybe you can chime in on this too, Zach, because, again, you're familiar with these cars enough to know. Maybe being on these curbs with the cold left sides, depending on what he's got for brake bias, that might have been enough to turn the car around.
It looked like a little heavy on the rear brake bias there with worn left sides, and it doesn't take much. I mean, unfortunately, he went through so much grass and sand that didn't really have much of a chance to stop.
Oh, he's having even more trouble here.
Yeah, he's just trying to limp her home at this point. Come in, use that fast repair.
Costly mistake for Randall White. Was looking at a win as long as you could keep it clean. Well, didn't keep it clean. James Vance, your current race leader. Everyone's completed their pit stops. Randall White now down pit lane. Likely going to burn a fast repair here, but all hopes of winning tonight out the window. So top 3 currently James Vance, Nick Coccato, and Kevin Burrows. Then it's Aldo Secklin and Gaston Masroni still back up into P5 after his issues. James keeps losing connection. 7.5 minutes remain here from Suzuka Circuit. Kevin Burrows and Nick Coccato. This is the battle for the 2nd spot.
This could be a battle for the win too, Steve, if the connection gets a little worse for Vance.
You know, we've seen the connection issue be a problem for James, but knock on wood, we've cursed enough people tonight, but I haven't seen it be so bad that he's been booted from the session, actually full packet loss. Certainly is a possibility, but fingers crossed that's not the case for James Vance.
Boy, after leading most of this race, that would just be terrible luck.
But I tell you, there's got to be people paying attention to that situation. Kevin Burrows has got to know about it. Nick Coccato's got to know about it. So, yeah, you're right. I mean, these guys are going to fight it out. That 2nd spot, crucial.
And these guys can see that live timing on the relative. You know, every time Vance blinks out, he disappears off the relative. So these guys know how frequent it keeps happening.
100%. And again, just think about it that way. You know, Vance was running 2nd. All of a sudden, he inherited P1 with Randall White and his issues after the pit stop.
And Suzuka just proving why it's one of the toughest tracks to get through.
Well, I think Terry mentioned it last week in his post-race interview that Suzuka will test you, and it really tests a road racer's ability levels on all different avenues of road racing, whether it's rhythm, braking, high-speed cornering, low-speed cornering, across the board, strategy. It really is a driver's track.
Or in Terry's words, you're doing pretty well until you're dead.
Exactly. So far, just about nobody's been immune to major issues tonight. Those that haven't had big problems, well, they're out front. Vance, Coccato, and Burrows. Aldo Secklin, the same situation. He's up in the 4th position.
I think Chris Harvey in the stream chat here has a good point. I think Randall had a heck of a chance to be out there leading this race. He had a heck of a pace. He had good strategy. Everything was looking good for him.
Well, again, he didn't. Go ahead, Zach. I'm sorry.
Oh no, it was just a shame that the bad luck struck. Ooh, more issues.
Just a little dirt.
Nothing the Ford's not used to, Steve. Keep picking on those.
So going back to Randall and having a shot at that win, yeah, he came out of the pits even with that tire change with a 1.6 second advantage. Now, to expand a little further on the tire situation, yes, he did put fresher tires on the car, which over the long haul may have been good for him as Ford goes through the chicane runoff. But he had to get heat in those tires, and with the track temperature what it is here today, it's been pretty cool. And air temperature is still hovering 66. It's actually cooling off. Track temp's up a little. It's 84, but still relatively cool in comparison. It's going to take some time to get some heat in those new left sides. And again, that may have contributed to his issues, but that 1.6 second advantage that he had, he probably would have given up at least a second of that right off the bat. Just trying to get heat in the tires because he wouldn't be up to full pace yet, plus adjusting to the change in handling characteristics that the new left side tires would have presented. I think we would have had a really good battle to watch, but I don't know if it was a shoe-in for a win. Kevin Burrows, the highest running TLDR SimSport machine, closes in under the brakes.
Big time.
Down through turn 11. Vance still checking out. 6.6 seconds his lead over Nick Coccato in the second spot. "57 minutes have elapsed here from Suzuka Circuit. Just 3 minutes remain.
There's so many stories developing here, Steve. Will Vance's internet cooperate for the last 3 minutes? Will Gaston's tank, not empty out completely and send him coasting to the finish line? Just so many things that might happen here.
Did not see a white flag that time by, though with the connection issue, hard to keep a close eye on it. It's maybe 2 to go. Again, average lap time about 2 minutes. Vance's best is a 59.97. Burrows a 59.99 as he's jumped into the second spot. Take a look at that pass for P2. Down into turn number 1, it looks like. Used the slipstream and just outbroke the other BMW deep into the corner. Big time move for Kevin Burrows. Full send for the 426.
Holds it too. Beautifully done.
Used the brakes to turn the car and continues on. Vance now into 130R, turn 13. Terry Crouch has just passed Andrew Locke for the 9th position.
Big time blink.
So Vance into the chicane here. Let's try and get an eyeball on the flagman and see if this is the final lap. He's still in the throttle down into turn number 1. 30 seconds, less than 30 seconds remain. This should be the final lap for James Vance. One more time around Suzuka Circuit, and he'll have his first win of the season. Gap between Burrows and Kakato a full second now, so that battle has certainly calmed down. Vance did not have a lot of pace in practice and didn't really have a whole lot of pace in the qualifying session either, but had the ability to drive the car on old tires all race long. Short pit stops, took only the amount of fuel he absolutely needed to have. Now through turn 13 for the final time. Back to the throttle. And then it's the kink in the chicane and then maybe a checkered flag. One more corner to go for James Vance. Back to the gas. Checkered flag waves. James Vance, your race winner here. Race number 4, the Lonestar Racing GT3 Series from Suzuka. Kevin Burrows crosses the line in P2. Nick Kakato is third. Aldo Secklin, the 4th place driver. He's out of the final corner, turn 17. He'll finish in the 4th spot. Daniel Klar into the chicane, also in the BMW. He will round out the top 5. James Vance, your race winner. Drivers continuing their cool down laps. We're going to jump out, get our final break out of the way, get our top 3 drivers available for interview. Stay with us. We'll be back.
I met Marco Scarza when we were doing radiothons for St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. We needed sponsors to help us raise money, and he's always the first one to jump in. I would describe Marcos and his team as upstanding, someone you can trust, and he is just a genuine guy.
Marcos has been very generous. He has a genuine concern for people. You need somebody that cares about you. And that's what Marcos is, and that's pretty much what this firm is.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
Back at Suzuka Circuit, race number 3 complete. James Vance, your race winner. So we can pull the driver of the Fast MD Racing number 87 up into the broadcast booth. James, it's Steve and Zach Millett in the HBR booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. How you doing, guys?
James, man, good to talk to you. Glad to have you up here. Congratulations on the race win here at Suzuka. Qualified 6th. Didn't seem to have a whole lot of pace throughout the race, but pit strategy and some fast stops seemed to get you out front and keep you there. Of course, then a late race mistake from White put you back into P1. Walk us through your race.
What's that whole old age adage? Work smarter, not harder.
Absolutely.
No, I'm kidding. No, I mean it was a weird one because whenever Andrew and I race, like whoever's ahead, we just kind of play rear gunner to that person unless something happens, you know. And Andrew said before the pit, he's like, I'm going to take tires. And I kind of thought about it, and I was like, you know what? Like, I've done an hour on tires, like, in a lot of places in a GT3 car. Like, I'll play it out and see how the second stint goes. And then it just kind of happened that we cycled through to the lead, and I was like, oh, man, we're gonna get pounced here. But, yeah, I just kind of tried to not let it bother me that those guys were there and just drove my race. And I mean, they kind of made some mistakes and whatnot, and yeah, I mean, it was my day, but next week I'll start from last, so here we are.
So next week, starting last, and it's at Brand Hatch. I guess you can call it the short track of road courses. Certainly a fun place, but what kind of experience do you have out there?
Honestly, not too much, so it'll be a new one for me, and I got a busy week ahead too, so it won't be much time to practice, but we'll see how it goes. I know there'll be a lot of carnage for sure. So yeah, I mean, hopefully we can take advantage of it and get to the end and get some points.
All right, James. Well, again, congratulations on the race win here at Suzuka. Good luck next week. Thanks for talking to us. Is there anyone you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I just want to thank you guys for putting on the race, my fiance for putting up with me and my sim racing, and yeah, thank you again to TV, you guys, and everything you guys do for the championship.
And you know what? I don't think I've even talked to you since you and Gwen got engaged, so I want to say congratulations to you guys and good luck with that.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
James Vance, your race winner here at Suzuka. Good luck next week, man.
Cheers.
Second place finisher Kevin Burrows next to come up into the broadcast booth. We'll pull him up, get a word with our runner-up. We thought it might be a battle for the win. Wasn't the case, but Kevin Burrows, it's Steve and Zach in the booth. You got us?
Yep, got a copy.
There we go. Kevin, congratulations, man. A runner-up finish. You were strong tonight. Had a good run. Started outside front row. Finished essentially outside front row. A good car, a good run. Walk us through your race. Any strategies you had to employ? Did you change things up? Walk us through your race.
I had a spin on lap, I don't know what it was, 3 maybe or so. Got me back to, I think, 10th, 11th place. Hit the wall, had a little bit of damage, and decided it wasn't terrible, so I rode it out and got my repair at the first pit stop.
You know,
I was debating on tires. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You know, it's interesting. I totally forgot about that. Me and Zach certainly saw that happen live. The fact that you've made it all the way back up to P2 after all that, very impressive. It's kind of got to be a heart punch knowing that you had that opportunity. You could have walked out of here with a win.
Yeah, I thought that. I mean, I lost quite a bit of time there, so I mean, I definitely would have had a good chance for a win for sure.
Well, next week we're going to go out to Brands Hatch, certainly a much different style racetrack, kind of old school. I know this place isn't the most newest of places, but Brand Hatch, certainly a lot of history going out there. Do you have any experience there in the sim?
Yeah, I've run quite a few laps there. I do enjoy the track. It's tough, and it's easy to kill yourself at, that's for sure.
You TLDR sim guys are all about dying in the sim.
It happens.
Well, again, congratulations on P2, Kevin. Good luck next week. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
As always, I give my shout out to my wife and my daughter for letting me enjoy my hobby, and obviously to my team, TLDR. Great bunch of guys.
Thanks, Kevin. Good luck.
Thank you.
It's Kevin Burrows, your runner-up here at Suzuka. Next, we're going to pull Nick Ciccato up into the broadcast booth. Nick, it's Steve and Zach in the HBR TV broadcast booth. You got a copy?
Yes. Hi, guys.
How are we doing again? We get the chat 2 weeks in a row after a top 3 finish, so congratulations on a solid run here tonight. Tell us about your race.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really surprised to be in the podium again after all what happened in the race. In the opening lap, I got a little incident with Aldo and lost like 5 seconds. Then I don't remember if it was after or before the first pit stop. I made a little spin and lost another 5-6 seconds. On the second pit stop, I missed the braking spot and lost another 2-3 seconds. So yeah, surprised that beside all of that, I finished on the podium. But yeah, happy.
Well, it just goes to show sticking to it, not giving up. It certainly comes in handy. Kevin Burrows, he had his own share of issues early on in the race. He lost a bunch of track position as well and still battled back to P2. We watched you guys battle it out for a little bit. Next week, though, Brands Hatch, certainly different style racetrack. What are your thoughts going out there?
I never raced there, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna be also because I'm moving to another country and I'm selling on my rig, unfortunately. So I don't know if this is gonna be my last race on the tournament, at least for a while.
Well, hopefully that's not the case. We'd love to have you back here. It's been fun to watch you run these things. You certainly have pace. If we don't see you again, it's been a pleasure, and you'll be missed, my friend.
Okay, well, let's hope to see you next week, and I hope for another interview. Let's see.
All right, Nick. Well, again, thanks for talking to us. Who do you want to shout out to before we let you go?
I want to send a shout to all the team, to all the guys, Alfredo, Gaston, and Ali.
All right, Nick. Congratulations once again, and good luck.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Nick Cacano, your third place finisher here at Suzuka. Sounds like he may or may not be back for the rest of the season. We'll see what happens. It'd be a shame to not have him around, as he's certainly a fast driver to contend with. Interesting that our second and third place finisher, Zach, both had issues early on in the race and still managed to battle back for solid finishes. It just makes you wonder, what kind of battle for the win would we have had? I mean, all these guys had problems. James Vance really the only one that didn't have a problem tonight, so he was going to be a contender regardless. But, you know, Randall White, while leading after his pit stop, he ended up getting off track and then hard impact for him, so he had to use the fast repair, so he gave up the lead. Vance took it back over. But then these other two guys had their early race issues, so I don't know. I mean, we could have seen a completely different race.
Yeah, it makes you pretty thankful that these guys have a fast repair in there, so, you know, if they make a simple mistake, the race isn't over, they can get back out there and continue. But yeah, it really goes to show you, you know, you don't always have to have the raw pace to go out there to win one of these races. If you just go out there and run your pace, stay clean, and, you know, make it to the end, you always got a shot.
Well, to the end we are. Let's take a look at our race results. Of course, James Vance, Kevin Burrows, Nick Cacano, the top three. Then Aldo, Secklin, Daniel Klar, David Tamira, P6. Gaston battled back to a 7th place finish. Good run for Masroni, certainly looking at a win, but had his own share of issues. Randall White battled back to the 8th position after his post-pit stop crash. Terry Crouch was 9th after starting at the very back of the field to start this race tonight. Brandon Domain finished in the 10th position. 11th finishing spot went to Andrew Locke. Alexis Mandrakia was 12th. Brad Crouch was 13th after a first lap incident put him in the wall. Sean Roberts was 14th. Chris Pyle 15th. Alfredo Tricarici was 16th. Nick Batista 17th. Chris Goins was 18th. Kevin Blue 19th. Andy Spicer was 20th. Corey Deal making his first start of the season 21st. Nick Simone 22nd. Justin T. Wilkinson 23rd. Travis Martin 24th. Bill Mulfeld was 25th. Dave Seats, I don't know what happened to Dave. He was up in that front running spot for quite some time as well. He finishes 26th, 9 laps down. Must have had an issue on track and crashed out. Tough break for Dave Seats. Britt Osborne was 27th, 28th Josh Lucas. Dave Coburn was 29th, 26 laps down. Out of this one awfully early. this evening. Good field of race cars here at Suzuka. Hope to have the same thing next week at Brands Hatch. Initially, we were not going to be able to be broadcasting the Brands Hatch race as I was going to have to travel out of town for my day job. Not the case anymore, so we will still be able to bring you the action from Brands Hatch next week, next Monday, same time, same channel, youtube.com/@HBRTV, and the number 1. If you guys haven't already done it, please like, follow, share, and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. Do the same thing over on the Facebook side, facebook.com/HBRTV1. All those things, it does help with the algorithms and whatnot, helps the channel, gets this in front of some more eyeballs that might be interested in it, and overall, it's a good thing, not just for us at HBRTV, but the league as well. So those of you who have already done it, well, ignore me. Help us out, spread the word. We do appreciate you being here. Thanks for watching, everybody. For Zach Millett, I'm Steve Singer with HBR TV. We'll see you guys next week.